Hello everybody and welcome to an MJD Extras video. If you're new to this channel, this is my secondary channel where I upload just random off-the-cuff videos, things I wouldn't normally put on the main channel, and this today is going to be one of those videos. I was originally going to include a segment of this sort in the full retrospective video on the Microsoft Kin, but I decided against it because that main video is really just about the history. It's about, doing a retrospective of this device and how it came to be and its ultimate fate. But if you clicked on the card in that video, that's probably how you're here. You're probably interested in kind of hearing a little bit more about this specific unit that I've got here, because there are some interesting things about this unit. You may have been able to tell in that original video that something like if you've owned a Kin before, or if you were around the Microsoft Kin, I don't know what, like if you saw it in the store somewhere, if you were at the launch event, whatever that it might be, there is one glaring difference between the device you saw and the device I have here, and that is the screen. Because in every single video that I've seen of the Microsoft Kin, both the Kin 1 and the Kin 2, the screen is a very reflective glass screen. It's a multi-touch glass display, as you would kind of expect from a smartphone released in 2010. But this screen on this unit is not glass. This is not a glass screen. And look, like I'll hold my hand up here. It is not reflective, like, I mean, you can kind of see it in there, but it's obviously not as reflective as a glass screen. So I purchased this device secondhand from somebody, and when I got it, I kind of noticed that, and I thought, okay, this seems off. I'm pretty sure this device had a glass screen. Like, I'm pretty certain that's how it was manufactured. But I just kind of, said, oh, okay, well, at least it works, because this device did work when I got it. I was able to power it on. I was able to test out the software and the applications, and it worked great. So I figured, okay, awesome. So I'm just going to, shoot some B-roll with this for the video. Right around the time when I went, actually, I think the day I went to record B-roll for this, which is, going to be footage to have in that video, the screen stopped working. Now, it didn't initially completely stop working. What had happened was, I believe the backlight went out. So the screen was all of a sudden very, very dim, and I kind of wish that I captured all this on video, but I just didn't, because I wasn't recording at the time. I was just testing it out. But like literally right before I went to set up the camera to record, like get the, like studio space set up here, I was looking at the phone, and all of a sudden, it was essentially, from what I can tell, the backlight went out, because it was not responding to, like, I could go into the settings application, and I could change the brightness, like I could try to, find the slider and I could change it, but it wasn't responding to the brightness control. Now, I was able to capture some footage of the screen in that state, and some of it was even in that full video, but here's some more of it right here. This is what I'm talking about, where the screen is just not bright at all. It's just extremely dark, and again, it was not responding to, when I was going into the brightness controls to try and, increase the brightness. So I thought, okay, that was weird. Then which again, I wasn't able to capture this, unfortunately, but I was able to, like, if I had opened this device, like, to about here, the backlight would come on, and the screen would be bright. So I thought, okay, something's wrong with the internals, but when it was open all the way, or when it was closed, like when it was shut like this, the backlight wouldn't work. So there was something, I assumed there was something weird going on with the actual hardware, because that honestly makes sense. Something would have had to gone wrong with the hardware to make it behave in that way. So we now have a Kin with a different screen, not the same screen that this model shipped with, and the backlight was, essentially not working. Then later that day, I was messing with the phone, powering it on. I was essentially trying to get the backlight to work. I was powering it off, turning it back on, and doing all sorts of stuff. Then the screen totally just died, and now it does not display anything whatsoever, which again is like very weird. All this happened in like a period of 24 hours. This phone went from working, like, or at least the screen, because the phone still works, which we'll talk about in a minute. The screen went from working to just completely dead in like 24 hours. So that's why in the full video, the full retrospective, you didn't see any footage aside from the 1 or 2 clips that showed, that the screen was working with the, with the backlight issue. Aside from that, I wasn't able to showcase the operating system running on the phone and me messing around with the applications, which is what I really wanted to do. But with the screen here, it's still very interesting because, again, this is not the original screen, so I was kind of going through the possibilities of how this screen could have gotten on this device. One possibility is this is some sort of weird development / prototype model, which I don't believe is the case at all because it does have a standard model number on the back here. It does have the M. This is an M unit. This is a Kin2M. It's still obviously the original hardware, it's just running at different firmware. So they kind of stamped, it's literally just an M stamped on there, but this is the same model number. I looked up this model number. This is the same model number that a regular Kin 2 had. So it doesn't seem likely this is any sort of like development unit. So it could be, it's a possibility, but it just doesn't seem, because again, this phone was not around. It was around for 48 days. But it could be that this entire assembly was replaced, like this entire piece here was replaced, because although this isn't a glass screen, it does feel like an official part. These edges are very rounded. It matches the phone exactly. So maybe this entire part was replaced, but it just isn't a official, like a first party part. So maybe this was actually manufactured for specific use with the Kin. But I don't know if that is the case, because there are, and of course I can't really show you this because again the phone doesn't work, but there are little particles of dust and things underneath, like between the LCD and the touch surface. So obviously those two would have to be separated to allow those particles to get in there. So that leads me to believe that this was just repaired by, like, someone literally took the glass pieces off and put this on. That's what makes the most sense. Also, there are some stripped screws in here. I don't really know if you can see them, but there's like 2 or 3 screws in here that are stripped. I cannot get them out. They appear to be stripped at least, and so that's also like a major sign of somebody doing a third-party, like unauthorized repair to this. So that seems like the most plausible explanation as to why the Kin is in this state. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of do this just to talk about, because you guys probably had some questions if you were kind of looking really closely at this thing. And you were like, that does not look like a Kin screen. If you had even known what a Kin screen looked like, you'd have to use one or be around one, or but however you found this video, if you saw it from the card, if you saw this just on the Extras channel itself, huge thank you to you for watching. Hopefully you enjoy this one. If you haven't seen the full retrospective video yet, check it out. I'll have it linked up in the cards if you want to check that out and kind of learn more about the history behind this device. But yeah, that's going to do it for now. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you at some point in the next video.